Okay, Big John, welcome. Maxin and Relaxin podcast Ep.4, I want to say.
Oh, wow.
But welcome, bro. Nice to have you here. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just living my best life, as you do. And yeah, I'm happy to be here finally. We've been talking about this for too long.
I know. Well, I wanted to just like get a mix of people because obviously I got a music background, but I want to be more than just music. And football is something I love. The Sidemen something I love. BigJohnGK is something I love. So of course, man.
Thanks for the love, man.
We local boys South as well. But yeah, anyway, we're going to do to start with, which I do with all my guests. We're gonna doodle. These are some prior examples.
Okay.
And just doodle random stuff, and we're just gonna swap every couple minutes, just to get the creative juices flowing.
As creative as I am, I think drawing is like the last on my list, but we've got this.
Okay. But what's an average week in the life of Big John like these days? Like, how often are you making videos at home? How often are you on the pitch filming?
Usually, I am the laziest guy in the world, and it always makes me laugh because people would always be like, "I want to grow up just to be like you." And
Really?
I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, I wake up at 2 p.m. sometimes, you know what I mean? So I usually say to myself, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to go film content. Even if I don't have anything planned, I'm going to figure something out that I'm going to do.
And would that be like your week of content, or would that last you more than that?
I'm one of those guys that will be like, oh, you know what? Like, this is enough for a week. And then after that, I'll just be like, actually, some of my content's not doing the greatest. So I'm just going to post this. I'm going to double up. I'm going to triple up.
Yeah, I hear you.
That,
Or sometimes I'll look at a video and I'm like, that's not how I wanted it to be. Or
exactly.
that's not what I wanted that to look like. And it's a bit frustrating, but you never know as well. It's quite hard to detach yourself from content sometimes, because it's like you have an idea in your head. You know what you're doing, but maybe they don't. I guess it might be different with football as well, though.
It's interesting. I mean, it's all based on like what's trendy at the time, or like what's the vibe that I'm feeling. And sometimes I'm a bit luckier. I might be like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna be filming with this person today, so
you can figure some ideas for them,
something different. But yeah, it varies, but I love it because I feel like I always get to be like creative.
That's what? Are you still Bart Simpson in?
No, I started off and then I was like, yeah, you know what, actually.
Okay, speaking of charity games, I've got my first one on Friday. How are they? Like, because I feel like, so I was at the Sidemen match. Were you there as well?
No, I was working at Insomnia that weekend, unfortunately.
I see.
So I missed it.
The Sidemen match, it was brilliant. To be fair, I only got to see the second half, which it was actually quite a lot of football because these guys, it's entertainment. There's loads of subs, and that's what I realized. It's entertainment more so than a match. But how do you treat them as a player? Is it banter? Is it serious? Is it a way to flex some skills? Like, how do you like to see them?
I always have like a mixture. So it's like, I love to win games.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can't take that competitive side out of people as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, if I can get maybe a viral clip or two in there, then sure, I'm not going to complain.
You think it's a 2 foot KSI like speed?
Yeah, exactly. I totally get him. But yeah, it's one of those where at the end of the day, I also think like, oh, look, I know there's people that come down to watch and they absolutely love you, and they'll do like whatever to have an opportunity to see you. So at the end of the day, you also have to like put in something that they're going to enjoy and whatnot. And yeah, it's just like an interesting scenario. Like, I played at Crystal Palace last year.
Yeah, I saw that. That looked crazy.
It was amazing.
Premier League stadium.
Yeah, genuinely. I was
That's mad.
Okay. And like,
how does the actual differences, like, can you tell the difference, like, you're playing a Premier League pitch versus you're playing in another charity game, or when you're playing Sunday League? Like,
I mean, I'm used to like playing.
You've played on Camp Nou, haven't you? Like,
yeah, that as well. But then I've also played at very bog standard pitches as well.
So you were saying the Soccer AM top bins might not have happened.
I hit a shot like that the week before,
and it went in.
No. Like it just kind of went a little bit lower. It would have been enough to like do well on socials, in my opinion. But I just didn't record it.
Top bins, yeah.
So what happened was, I was speaking to my friends. I was like, "Hey guys," like I showed them the like shot that I was gonna take, and they're like, "Oh, why don't you just take another shot right now and just give it a go?"
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, cool. Like, I'll give it a try. Didn't think much of it, and I literally hit it first time.
And that's the one that we saw?
That was the one that we saw. And like, nobody ever believes me. They're always like, oh,
you
mate,
like, all day,
how many takes? This was, take 400 or whatever. But no, genuinely, that was the first take. And if I showed you the full video, you'd understand based off the reaction.
Yeah.
But I cut it early because I was like, Jesus Christ, like I sound like Homer Simpson. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah. But yeah, it was crazy because like my friend literally was the one that was like, look, why don't you just record this? Like, you don't know. Like, if this goes in right now, you're going to look like an egg.
Did you just have like some free time on set then to do that?
How that came about in the first place was I actually had a mate that was working on Love Island.
Oh,
and
right.
he turned around to me and he just goes, mate, would you like to go on Love Island? And I was like, I need to go to Turkey first to get, the old hairline fixed. But after that, maybe.
So is Love Island pending now? You've had the...
Maybe. I mean, I did get asked recently to go on the Polish one as well.
Really?
Yeah. After like one of my videos went viral of me speaking Polish to a girl. But I don't know if that's for me just yet. But yeah. And then what happened was like, I loved for the invite, but at the same time,
Right, so if your mate was just like, do you want to just come on Love Island?
yeah, like he was like a researcher on the show. No, he was more like, oh, you know what, I'll get you audition. Like he seen me on Nights Out and he was like, oh.
John's got game.
Yeah, you got a bit of risk. But I turned around to him and I was like, look, actually, apart from that, like, is there anything else that I can be on? And I said to myself, I was like, I always wanted to be on Soccer AM. So I literally said to him, like, I know that you work for ITV, not Sky, but how can I do it? And he literally just told me, like, okay, cool. This is the exact things that you need to do to make it happen.
Really?
Yeah. And, like, I got in touch with him. I found out, like, the exact people I needed to speak to.
Yeah.
And they hit me up. They were like, look, yeah, we'd love to get you on. And I actually had to wait a whole year before they let me go on the show.
Was the plan to be a goalkeeper then for them? Or just
any
capacity?
No. That was to be like a goalkeeper. I saw that they had like Big G, Ibby, all of those guys on the show. So I was like, if they could do it, then why can't I? Like, and then it was like hilarious because the presenters on the show didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So like on the first show, they're like absolutely slandering my team. They're like, "Oh, we've got Big John from UTR. Never heard of them, but it is what it is."
Yeah.
And then by the third show,
some respect on your name.
They gave me my own jingle. So I was like, "This is amazing!" Like, so it just shows you, like, what hard work and perseverance.
Being a bit humble if they're gonna be giving you some banner and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love my time on the show. It's a shame that they've stopped it now, but
I know, man. Saturday mornings aren't the same.
Exactly. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I mean, I had opportunities to go play, semi-pro.
Yeah,
on
that's what
Saturdays.
I wanted to ask you. Like, how much is football a content thing, and how much is it actually like a sport for you? Like,
it used to be a massive passion for me.
As a kid, like, it's all you want to do, innit? Play football on the weekend.
You know what? I think the older I grew, the more I realised just like how biased certain things are in football, and how you need everything to kind of align for it to happen. So there was like a moment when I kind of just gave up on it. I didn't want to play anymore, and it was actually when I started doing social media and just being lucky that I joined UTR at the right time that I kind of turn around and I was like, oh, you know what? I actually enjoy football again. I just started to do it for fun rather than...
So was the plan to try and make it pro?
Yeah, no, 100%. And I had my opportunities to do so. I got asked to go play pro out in Spain, Sweden, or even in America at one point. But it just...
Soccer.
Yeah, exactly. But it just was one of those things where, for me, I just didn't enjoy it anymore. And, it actually affected me quite negatively. My mental health was all over the place.
What, in just the pressure of trying to make it as a pro?
No, it was just like, there's so many things that, like I said, need to align. Like, at one point, so I studied in America.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that.
What happened was I literally...
What were you studying?
Studying maths.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it on a scholarship or anything?
Yeah, on a scholarship.
Okay, so you were playing football.
Yeah,
like, you were on that part.
That was like the main thing.
Yeah.
Like literally on the first day, they gave me a list of things to study, and I just turned around and I was like,
I'm kicking ball.
Yeah, like.
And was that as a goalkeeper?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when in my final year out there, I got injured.
Oh no.
Injured my wrist. So I pretty much missed the whole season, and it was at this moment where I kind of just turned around and I was like, damn, like. I wasn't integrated in the team no more. I couldn't travel with them. I couldn't. Like, all my mates that I was close to, like, we just kind of grew apart.
I feel like American sports systems as well are so brutal in that, like, if you're injured, cool. You're not. Whereas like here, if you're injured, you still come watch your team play. You still come to train. Like, you're still involved. And I feel like America's so, because my cousin was doing the same. Literally goalkeeper in America on a scholarship. And I think he was ill or something and missed a game, and because the other keeper got a thing, and goalkeeper's a hard position. Like,
100%.
You could just do a little cameo. Like, if you're not playing well or you get benched for whatever reason, you got to fight to get back in.
Genuinely.
Like, I can imagine that's tough. And yeah, he ended up coming home just because he felt so unwelcome. Like,
that was pretty much the same thing with me. And I think the timing of everything was just crazy because I got injured and I missed out the season. And at that point, I kind of said, look, in America, it's a massive culture that if you get injured or you're too young or whatever, they'll literally tell you, miss out a whole season. You've got 4 years of eligibility to play. If you play one single game, it cancels it out. So they're like, look, if you're not going to play a full season, don't play.
Yeah.
And that was such a wild thing for me. So I kind of just went, let me just play outfield. So I played outfield, tried to do my thing. And they were like, oh, you know what? We don't want to give you minutes because you're a goalkeeper first. We've got players that are actual strikers.
Yeah.
And
I guess you don't want to be a striker getting benched by your keeper. Like.
Yeah, exactly. I totally get it. I totally get it. But and then it was just one of those things where I turned around to the coach and I was like, look, if I'm not gonna play and you've got an alternative that, you know, is on a better contract and is younger than me, let's just split ways. And I went back to the UK, ended up playing for Tooting and Mitcham.
No way!
For a little bit, yeah.
Yes.
And then I think, a month in playing with them, COVID started. So it was just like the perfect timing for everything. And then after that, I was like, you know, I'm already in the UK. One of my mates that was at Tooting and Mitcham was playing for UTR.
And that's how you got
Yeah,
UTR.
that's how I got to UTR. And from there, everything just, got crazy, just being at the right place.
And then it kind of just projected you into that sort of the YouTuber series. And
you know what? I'm grateful for him and then grateful for my coach as well because just the whole situation of how it came about. Like, I didn't play more than, I think it was like 2 or 3 games for UTR before I got my first call up for a YouTube vid, yeah.
Wow.
And that was all through my coach who just was like, look, Simon and Toby want you for a video. Do you want to come down? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then, the rest is history.
Wow. I mean, it's mad how, like, at your lowest point when you're in America, benched, injured, like, that's a massive decision to make, to be like, I'm giving up on trying to play pro in America. And that's also in uni as well.
Yeah.
Come home, obviously, have COVID. Like, that's such a low place to now be, like, on the trajectory you are. And working with some of, like, the best footballers and YouTubers out there. Like, that's insane.
You know what? I always look at it and the way my storyline showcase itself. Well, I've got this motto for myself, right? It's like, realistically, a person like me should never get the opportunities like the person like me. But here we are right now, to be honest. And it's crazy for me to think, just like you mentioned, it's like I was in a position where I was at my lowest. I wanted to give up on everything. And now I'm grateful that I didn't, because now I get to do so many amazing things and I cherish everything that I do, that even at this point, like if, you know, God forbid my career was to finish today, I can say like, you know what, the things that I've done are crazy.
Yeah.
Like I know that eventually somebody's going to replace me, but hopefully,
but
it's somebody that, you know,
you've got your time now, innit?
Exactly. And I hope that it's somebody that also looked at, you know, what I've achieved and was like, you know what, I want to do exactly what he does. Exactly.
By you, yeah. It's a whole new thing that you play football at a high level without actually having to be a pro footballer.
I feel like the biggest fraud in the world, you know what I mean? Like, is this really a job?
That's kind of what I want to ask you. Well, so like, some of the pros you played with, like, name some. You played with Arteta.
Oh, just casual name drops.
Smith Rowe. Who else you played with?
So the craziest one for me so far is I filmed with Harry Kane before he went to Bayern.
No way.
Just having arguably, you know, one of the best strikers in
England's
our generation.
Captain as well. Yeah.
Taking shots at you is surreal. I mean, this summer as well, ended up having Bukayo Saka take a couple penalties against me, or in February, Raheem Sterling. Wow. We filmed some bits for Samsung together, and the list goes on. I've also done this funny thing where I tried to create like an 11-a-side team of all the people that I filmed with.
No way.
And I was like, you know what, this team could probably win the Prem.
The challenge,
So it's surreal, because you know, you grow up watching these people on TV and you look up to them and you're like, wow, okay, this is amazing. But at the same time, I'm like, I want to test myself. I want to see how good I am in comparison to a pro.
That's what I want to ask, because me and my friends, we were saying, like, obviously our level of football and Sunday League on our pitches, whatever, to us it's decent, but we know there's levels above. We were also saying, like, you see some of these pros that you see, like, we had some ballers at our school that never made it pro, and we're thinking, so these guys that are pro must have been the guy at school. But like, imagine like Thomas Suchek just being that guy at school. Like, it's so hard to imagine. But how do you find like the level of these guys? Like, is it significant? Like, you're saving shots against Harry Kane, one of the best strikers in the world. Like, how much harder is that to save shots against him than, I don't know. Like,
so the best way that I put it is that sometimes like you'll face somebody in Sunday League that's got an absolute rocket,
Yeah.
right? And some of these guys do actually have a better shot than some pro players. Like
Wow.
realistically, sometimes when I film with Chris MD, when he says in videos that he's a better free kick taker than your average Premier League player, it's true.
Wow.
Because the difference is like, they are so all-rounded in what they do and they're consistent. In Sunday League, you can get a guy that will score you a worldie like once.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, cool, like this is crazy, like I got packed in. But you film with a pro and it's like, sometimes their shot might not even be the craziest, but they'll hit those targets every single time. When I filmed with Ward Prowse, for example, and he was taking free kicks.
My JWP, I'm a West Ham fan.
You look at it and you're like, how is he hitting it with so much power and accuracy every single time?
It's just the consistency, yeah.
And it's like I mentioned, like Chris would score free kicks against me, but then you like get him and you're like, oh my God, like this is a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's doable. I feel like your average Joe could do certain things better than a pro.
Wow.
However,
It's just the package.
yeah, there's so many things. It's the same as like when people ask me like, oh John, they see me like do a video one day on like, you know, like a highlight clip and they'll be like, mate, how come you're not pro? And I'm like,
you don't see the shots I let in.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's the consistency, it's the mindset as well. You have to like be so wide in everything that you do.
Because all your stuff is like fun content, essentially.
Yeah.
Are some of these pros like, they can't see the fun in that, they're that competitive, or like you might be getting under their skin if you're saving the shots? Like, is there anyone that's kind of like you've been like, oh, this guy's a real pro?
You know what? I've had some funny moments. There was definitely one moment when I saved Jorginho's penalty, and like
You could tell he was upset.
And like he tried like his technique. The first time he did it,
his little stuff.
He absolutely sold me for a donut, right? And then the second time I was like, you know what? Like
I'm Big John.
No, not even that. Like I was like, you know what? Like I'm going to do everything in my might to like do everything the opposite of what I should be doing, right? He was waiting for me to move and just like nicely just, slot it very slowly. And I didn't. And he just goes, hey, keeper. Move. So that was
rattled
funny,
Jorginho's technique.
If I could take a lot, like anything to the grave, it's like, save the penalty from arguably one of the best penalty takers and a free kick from arguably the best free kick taker in the world.
Crazy. Like someone like Harry Kane, who's been, well, when you were with him, captain of Tottenham, captain of England, like he's a serious guy, and like I imagine he's someone that has to take everything to the highest ability. Was he able to just have fun and like see the fun in it? And
that was a bit of a tough day. So this is a bit of an exclusive. I'm not sure I'm allowed to say or anything, but so he was filming for Sketches because he just signed a new deal, and on the day he just trained and he had like a inter-house 90-minute game and everything, and because he just signed for Sketches at the time and like they had to do all of those like release videos and everything, he was there for hours. Right?
So he must have been knackered.
He was, and like you could tell he was just annoyed with everything that he was doing at the day. Like, after he would finish one video, the next he'll be like, okay, I need to send like do this type of promo or whatever. And when we was taking shots, you can see that there was a couple shots that like they were quite easy to save.
Oh, right.
And like I was filming with Pro Direct at the time, and like they actually cut off a lot of those clips.
Really?
There was like one amazing save that I made. It was like a 1v1. Just cut it. And I've been chasing that footage for
let me get
ages, and
that.
it's just not happening. And it's one of those things, like you never know what type of person you're gonna get on the day. And everybody was like walking around on eggshells. But realistically, he was such a sound guy. Like at the end of the shoot, I walked up to him and was like, any chance you can like sign the shirt or whatever? And he's like, yeah, let's do it. And stuff like that. And everybody was like absolutely scared. They were like, oh my God.
Really?
Like,
that's sweet, man.
So
That's good to see.
he's a proper sound guy. A lot of people don't know this about shoots, but it's just like sometimes the way they handle them and whatnot, it's like, it's a bit crazy for like your typical player. And a lot of players, they actually hate doing some of these shoots.
Well, I imagine, because don't they get like such small windows as well to do them? Like?
Yeah. A lot of their managers and stuff, they always say they're like, oh, you're not allowed to kick, you're not allowed to do this, and they're just standing
I've seen
there
a lot,
doing nothing.
I see a lot of West Ham content. A lot of it is just like West Ham players just watch and commentate on like YouTubers doing it, and they might have an academy player kick it. It's like, wow, it's really like, I guess if
very
you
protective.
do not want your player to get injured doing a shoot.
They're worth millions, so they're like, you know what? He needs to play against like a Fulham next week.
Yeah, it's like,
let's save him.
Not let Big John 2 foot.
It actually happened once on Soccer AM. I'm not sure if like anybody knew about this, but the show's finished now, so
you
it is whatever, right? On one of the shows, Matty Cash came in. I wasn't even meant to be on the show, but I'm like,
Oh, really?
he's Polish.
Oh yeah.
I have to be on this show. So I said to like the team, I was like, look, even if you need me just on the side, like, I don't know, cleaning bins or whatever, just get me there. And what happened was they had Big G on the show. You know, they were going through like the whole pro-am, all the different drills and stuff. And at one point, Matty Cash wants to go around him in like a 1v1. And Big G just goes and like clatters him, right? Matty Cash like just goes back wherever and he looks at his mates and he goes, ooh, like, I don't think this is right. And the following day it came out Matty Cash to miss out on a couple games because of an injury. So yeah, after that, like we weren't allowed to have many like current Prem footballers on the show and whatnot.
Gosh, the backlash to that must have been proper.
Yeah.
At least it wasn't you that did it.
100%.
Oh my gosh, your heart.
Whenever like people see me in videos and they see like, oh, there's a player that goes around me or whatever, it's probably because of that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
You could have sorted it out, but
don't really want to. Yeah, exactly.
It's odd, like being starstruck because I find like obviously I do a lot of rap content.
Yeah.
I get to meet some of my favorite rappers, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, cool, met this guy. Sometimes I'm like, yo, I just met so-and-so. But I've always got a content mind or something like some sort of networking.
Yeah.
And I was at the GRM gala and I was chatting to someone. My boy tapped me, was like, no, Max, sorry, but like, you have to come with me. And I'm like, who is it? And he was like, bro, Mikel Antonio's here. And I was like, no way. Obviously, I'm a West Ham fan. I'm a Tooting boy. So is he. Like, that one meant so much to me. And I just see him. I'm like, that's Antonio. And my boy's like, what, do you want me to get content? I'm like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
that's my striker. Yo, I was so starstruck. Like, and people like Stormzy and stuff at the gym go like, Mikel Antonio starstruck me. And I just remember just waffling to me like, oh, you're from 2, I'm from 2, and you went to the same school as my brother. But he was so nice. But one thing was, it was before the Premier League started. And I'm like, why this guy got 2 drinks in his hand? Like, yo, we got Bournemouth away, you know. You should
have gave him another 2. The way he's playing right now, you know what
I mean, Avellino, he's obviously very involved with Man United. He was telling me, bro, these players party, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%.
These players do drugs and they drink.
You know what? I wish that I could say some of these stories. I'll tell you some after, but yeah, there's some crazy stories of like the things that they get up to. I don't blame them.
I don't blame them in a way because like literally is non-stop. Like, but then at the same time, it's sort of like from my perspective, like I would love to be a Prem baller and but then it's like, okay, cool, you need a release and you're getting hounded by thousands of fans online in the stadium. Like I understand it, and as long as you play well or like at least try, that's all I care about. But
to be honest, you know what? The whole Starstruck thing, it actually like it was just a switch for me of like when it turned off. And it's like quite funny. So like when I first done my video with Chris MD, my first one was with like JJ, Harry, Cal Freezy and Calix. And he never told me. I just thought it was just like a video with Chris MD. And at that time, I think I only really watched like 2 or 3 of his videos. I hope he doesn't take offense to that or anything like that. But and then what happened was, there was like these 2 other guys that are really good mates of mine now. That are also at the shoot, and they've never done like a shoot like this before. And I remember just like seeing like JJ and Harry were just in the stands or whatever, and I was like, oh, it's them. And the way I saw them react, they were like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's JJ and Harry, it's JJ and Harry. And after that, I was just there like, okay, I don't want to seem like them. I want to seem professional.
It's weird. You'll feel these things, but you've got to keep it professional because it's someone you want to work with. Like
I was like, look at these weirdos, you know what I mean? Even though I'm inside, I'm like the same. And when I first like met JJ, like I shook his hand. I was like, oh, nice to meet you, John. And he's like, oh, JJ. I was like, yeah. Oh, nice to meet you, mate. I was like, I know who you are. You know what I mean?
I find it. I love it when people like introduce it. Like I met Michael Ward. Like every time I meet him, he introduces himself to me. I'm like, there's no way you're gonna remember me. But like every time he's like, oh, Michael, nice to meet you. I'm like, bro, I know who you are. Like you don't need to do that.
You'll be surprised. Like with these guys, like say for example, when I next met JJ, for example, I was with the same mentality. I was like, this guy definitely doesn't remember me, right? I was like, I don't know how much he watches Chris MD videos, so I was like, definitely not gonna remember me. We met again for the first ever Mikel Arteta video. Like before I even got to say anything, he's like, oh mate, nice to see you, man.
No
How's
way.
everything going? And like, he's like, how's the goalkeeping and everything? I'm like,
Oh man.
wait, you remember me? Like,
Oh, I love that, man.
so yeah, it was like, that was a surreal moment because it's, you know, somebody I watched every single day growing up.
The
you know
race
what
to
I mean?
Division 1. I watched every single day when they dropped, like.
All the Heskey songs and all of that stuff. It was crazy, man.
And it's mad to see him like doing everything, like the
Genuinely.
boxing, the drinks,
Genuinely.
literally everything.
Yeah,
Like,
proper proud of him, man.
would you ever get into the boxing?
For the right bag.
I think that's literally the right answer from everyone.
I think I'll do all right though. I've got quite a long reach, you know what I mean? So I think I'll do well. But then like, I always get asked like, if you had to pick somebody, like, who you fighting, right? I'm not calling him out, by the way, because I can already tell, like, comments will be like,
Yeah.
who are you, blah, blah,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
But I'll say Nicker, right?
Okay.
The reason why, whenever we stand next to each other, I can see a bit of, like, a resemblance. So I'm there
really?
thinking, like, you know what? I think we'll be quite well matched.
I would love to see Big John versus Nico.
Yeah, I think it'll be quite
Can't
funny.
lie, you win that. You win
Yeah,
that.
no,
in my
100%.
opinion.
100%. Would you?
Maybe. Like, I wouldn't want to do it, but again, if the bag's there,
Yeah.
if it's a good opportunity, then yeah, I kind of wouldn't want to say no to
Yeah.
it, but it's not something I'm like dying to do.
I know you just said that, but go to the camera, call somebody out right now.
Nah, I can't do that, man. I don't know. Because someone came up to me this week and were like, oh, you're the guy from TikTok. I was like, yeah. The next thing he said was, you're kind of wham, you know. I was so gassed. Like, I was with my friend and they're like, oh, he recognised you. I'm like, nah, forget, he said I'm wham. Like, out of nowhere. Yeah.
You see advantage already, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so I don't think anyone wants it. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. You know what? Good point. Good.
It is a mad world, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I guess it's sort of like, it even like with the football matches and stuff, like, there's a professional version, but then there's also something equally as popular, if not more popular in some cases, that like
Yeah.
people want to see. They've done a crazy job of it.
The power of YouTube
It's crazy.
is crazy. Because I still feel of myself, like, people might sometimes be like, oh, like, some might see me as a celebrity. I'm like, no, definitely not.
This guy plays football, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like, all of these things, or they might be like, oh my God, like, it might be surreal to, like, meet me. But in my head, I'm like, I'm just a regular.
I find that as well. Like, I mean, people will say it to, like, if I'm at a concert or something, there's fans of the same music as me, people will come up to me and I'm like, bro, I'm just a fan. Like,
Yeah,
I
exactly,
just make videos about it. Like, there's literally nothing different.
It's-
And then doing that has gotten me places, but it's not like
Facts.
I've something's crazy about me.
Yeah.
When we talk about Love Island earlier, would you consider it now you had the hair transplant?
You know what? I've spoken to a few of my mates that have been on the show, and a lot of them have suggested that it's been going a bit downhill. So,
Oh, really?
I mean, it's only one of the shows that I've been asked on.
Right.
I've also got asked to go on some other ones.
What, like,
There's some funny ones.
Naked Attraction?
Yeah.
You got asked to go on that? No way!
I've got quite a lot of like mates that are like researchers for shows. So
Yeah.
got asked to go on Pointless, The Chase.
Oh, I'd love to do the chase.
Yeah. The funniest one was definitely Naked Attractions. They wanted me to go to Manchester to film. And like the first question I asked them, I was like, look, before we start anything, what is the temperature in the room like? And they're like, oh, it's lukewarm. I'm like, okay, cool. Good start. But then I just started doing my YouTube stuff. I was working
footprint's
for a
real
charity
as well, like.
and stuff like that deals with kids. I was like, definitely can't do this. I do think it'll be a laugh, but at the same time, I'm like, career first.
Bro, that's
Everything
on the
else
internet
after.
when it's out there as well. Like,
I mean, I'm not ashamed. But yeah, maybe if I'm like in my 40s, have nothing going on or whatnot, I'll be like,
go on then.
yeah, you know, time to showcase the actual Big John. If you know what I mean?
Because obviously those are nothing to do with football. Is
Yeah.
your plan to then like establish yourself as a content creator within the football scene, but like pivot to just be a broader content creator? Because obviously football is like, well, like we said earlier, injury could mess you up, or I don't know, like.
You know what? At this current moment, I'm kind of going with the flow and just going like, look, whatever I'm doing, I'm enjoying it, and whatever else will come, it'll come. And I would love to get into like all these other areas of things. Like I know, for example, shout out to Nuno the man.
Coronation Street, yeah.
Exactly. Like he went from, you know, making Michael Richards videos to doing that, and it's like you never know what the next plan is. Like I'd love to go to like acting and all of these things.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always open to trying out different things, but I'm in no rush to doing them.
Yeah. But before we wrap up, I do want to give you the chance to voice any hot takes or unpopular opinions you have that you feel strongly about. I have one if you want me to go first. All right.
Yeah, you go first.
You see when people bring their dogs on the tube,
Okay.
I hate that so much. I feel like if you do that, you're an attention seeker because you're just there. Yeah, you're like, everyone look at my dog. Your dog will be walking up and down. It might even sit on my foot, and you're just like, oh, look at my. I hate that, bro. Control your dog. I don't want your dog to touch me. And people are there just like, oh, he's so cute. No, you're stinking up the carriage. I hate that so much. I just had to get it off my chest, bro.
Nah, you know what?
I'm not a dog guy.
I love dogs. So
I'm not a dog guy, yeah. I was even playing football last week and literally just having a kickabout on the common. One dog come, just shit in the middle of the pitch, and I watched the owner watch the dog and then carry on walking. I was like, yo, someone's going to be slide tackling on this pitch. Like,
that's in the heritage of the Sunday League.
I
totally get that.
And then the other one was some dog came and was just chasing my friend who was playing in goal.
Yeah.
Literally just chasing him round and round in circles. And the woman is like looking at her dog and I ran off by her man because I'm like, I don't want this dog to like attach to me. I was like, yo, let me go get that ball over there. The woman says to me, are you going to help? I'm like, it's your dog. I don't like dogs. Like, what are you doing? I didn't like it, man.
I'll give you a regular one and I'll give you a music one. Okay, I'll go for the simple one first. I think that nobody actively actually enjoys avocados. Unless it's guacamole, I don't think nobody actually enjoys avocados. I feel like it's just a front for social media where they're like, oh, this looks so fancy. Like, look at this, like, salmon and avocado and eggs, you know what I mean?
Smashed avo.
Yeah, exactly. Like
on sourdough bread.
Like, look, I live in an area where a lot of people like to live that lifestyle, right? And look, I could be one of those people. I'm not going to be, right? I'm not gonna lie to myself, right? Because with guacamole, I rate it, right? Because of the fact that people spice it up. They add everything to make it look nice. But for those that would just be like, oh yeah, I could just eat a spoonful of this. Like, spoonful of what? There's no taste. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? Like, who are you lying to? That's the more lightweight one. Even though, like, I'm still going to get stick for that one. Because there's going to be, like, somebody like, how can you not like avocados and whatever, right? The other one, this is the most controversial take ever.
Let's hear it.
Right? I'm not saying this person is bad. Far from it. I think this person is good, right? I do think Eminem is a bit overrated, you know? And like, I know people are going to be thinking, because I said overrated, that I think he's bad, right? But I just think he's overrated. Like, sometimes I listen to his music, and like, don't get it twisted. I feel like his ability to create certain things, amazing, right? The way that he's able to rap fast, the way that he's able to, you know what I mean? But at the same time, let's think of that, right? What is happening here? You know what I mean?
Like, what are
you even saying? Like,
I'm convinced that when he wrote, like, he probably doesn't just go hard. Just like, there's something here. We'll end there.
He just scribbled and he just looked at it and he was like, actually, I don't know what it actually says. So I'm just
because he could just be saying words. Like, it doesn't. There's no way you can listen to it. Like, yes, what he said there. Yeah, like exactly. You're and just people, like, wow.
People be like, oh, you know what? Like, the storytelling in this, and I'm like, look, dude will be like, he'll rap something like, I'm like orange, then I inject a syringe, look at my door hinge, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, you know what I mean? And people be like, no, like, read the bigger message. I'm like, what bigger message? Like,
man. You know what I loved is when he sent for Donald Trump. I found that amazing. I found that brilliant and hilarious at the same time. Like, you'll send a diss track to the president in the dark garage and like you got the guys there or whatever it is, like with a coffee pot.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
I found it so funny. I would love someone to do that in the UK.
You know, and the thing is, like, he is quite funny with the things he does. And like a lot of the things that he says is quite clever. But when my man just starts talking about like things that just don't make sense, you know what I mean? I'm like, so that's my controversial take. I always get stick whenever I say it.
I respect it.
I had to get it off my chest.
I don't think it's that wild. I think, some people definitely overrate Eminem. But, you know, each to their own. But no, I feel it. But Big John, appreciate you coming down.
No, thank you so much.
Let's see. So you get to keep one and then I'll keep one and put it up here. So we got... I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, that's kind of getting blurred by the light. But you got two kind of Bart Simpson-esque.
Yeah. Well, there's a story behind my one.
What's the story?
This is the new West Ham signing, Bart Simpson. That's why, you know, there's a football over there. I was gonna draw on gloves, but I was like, nah. Yeah.
He's our new keeper. Ariel had a stinky game on the weekend.
Exactly.
So, get
It
Kip
just-
Simpson a nod.
It just makes sense.
I appreciate you coming, bro. And yeah,
No worries.
love having everyone. Check out BigJohnGK on,
Thank you very
on
much.
everything.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to shout out?
Shout out, mum,
Big up,
granddad,
man.
and that.
Come on. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bow.